Hello viewers, I'm Simon Christie, and for the next 10 days we're on the road to El Dorado. We're chasing tracks in the northwest corner of the high country and looking for elements left over of the gold mining days. Come along for the ride, I think you're going to enjoy it.
The scenery is fantastic. All the trees and everything in the wilderness areas is just brilliant. It's been just sort of cruising around today, which has been quite nice. Nothing too severe, a little bit of low range stuff, but just sort of cruising around just to control of the vehicles. But apart from that, the scenery is just sensational.
Getting around a lot of the hairpin turns has taken a couple, maybe even 3 goes. Taking the centre diff lock out, trying to get the turning circle down as much as we can. But you still got to just rely on your mate behind you and keep clear and go back and have a second bite.
We got onto Pyramid Hill Fire Trail. Now that is a typical Victorian High Country track. Magnificent vistas, the views, the mountains, silhouetted in the background, brilliant blue sky, the Victorian High Country at its absolute best. It is just awesome.
And that's the beauty of this sort of area. There's lots of different tracks and things. Within an hour you can be right out in the middle of nowhere. And so that's one of the appeals here, is you've got so much choice of tracks, so much variety of terrain. It's really interesting.
A number of the corners that we went around today were a little bit close for comfort, especially with the dust. We've made sure that everyone keeps it nice and safe. No one's doing any ridiculous speeds. We've all got very low tyre pressure, so we want to make sure we all keep a safe distance between the car in front of us to make sure that going around the corners we don't have any issues with tyres, sliding around the corners, anything like that.
Now this little hill we're on, I was looking at the GPS and seeing how high we were getting. We're about 1,100 metres just a few kilometres back. We're now at about 1,200 and something metres, so it's really, really quite high. I feel on top of the world. It's fantastic.
Very interesting track. There's a number of pieces that are quite easy, dusty tracks, and there's a number of pieces that all of a sudden will instantly turn into rocky ground that is a little bit more challenging. Number of fallen trees. We had to get out and chop up a couple of trees with a chainsaw.
So consistently all day we're having to weave around fallen trees and branches sticking out. It's just the climate and how it goes in the high country. It's great to see people clearing the tracks. If there's a fire, they need clear access, and the last thing the fire brigade want to do is turn up and spend an hour moving a tree off the track.
Whenever we're out filming, our camera cars will cover almost double the distance of normal convoy vehicles. This puts a considerable amount of wear and tear on the vehicles, and overnight the battery of our Colorado had given up the ghost.
We've got to come closer. Go back. Come closer. So this is all standard batteries of these things. That's really good. Oh, well, it's 2 minutes now. Okay, have a crack. Whoa, stop, wait. Back to more waiting again. Just getting closer. There's a chance now.
By myself, I do the shopping. All by myself.
If you get impatient, all those little electrons won't be getting through, so we've got to wait. Have another crack, Simon. Wait again. Yeah, I reckon another 2 minutes. I suppose we can give it a shot. All right, good luck, Simon. Have another crack. Woo!
After repositioning the powering vehicles to get as close as possible, the engine leapt to life. And with not too much time lost, we were on our way again. It wasn't long before we encountered our next obstacle.
Okay, turn him off. If you're happy to do it here.
The battery we've got here is a DIN 66. It's quite a large truck battery. It's a good heavy duty battery. Our vehicles get driven quite heavily. So there's a lot of load on these vehicles as well, charging camera gear, keeping fridges running, driving lights, winches, all the other electrical needs. It's not often that they die in the field.
How are we feeling there, dudes?
But they'll generally die in a bad position. So we're midway through a trip, a battery's died. We couldn't get the exact same battery. We've got a slightly smaller battery, but the terminals are in the correct position, which will mean that the wires, which are generally quite short, will still be able to adapt and get into the right position. So we'll get this vehicle back on the road and get the convoy moving again.
In a minute. I'll cost a little bit for you. We've got a 12 or 13, I think it is.
There are a couple of things that will really kill your battery. And it goes to show why you need a good, high quality four-wheel drive battery. And those two things are heat, which there's a lot of in the engine bay, and vibration. People don't really realise how much damage corrugations and vibrations can do to a battery. It's generally a three-man job.
You can do that heavy bit.
Isn't that nice of Al? All right, here we go.
Ready, set. Ow! Got me. Doesn't matter. Go. Just pull anyway. It'll grow back again. Go. Deploy the smaller battery.
Well, that fits in a little easier, doesn't it?
Yeah, that was a lot easier. Good work.
No drain.
That's good.
You hear the car come back alive though.
Yes.
So before we put it all back together, I wouldn't mind just giving it a crank. Al.
Yep. Make sure everything's happy. Yo!
Sound a bit better? Another thing to remember when you're playing with batteries and electricals is that the system is generally live. And when you're using metal tools, be careful not to short the positive across to the body of the vehicle. It's not going to kill you, but the spark will scare the crap out of you.
Yes.
We've all had that, haven't we, Al?
We have indeed. And being diesel, it's pretty safe. Are we looking good?
Looking very good, Al.
Awesome. Love it.
So also remember, whatever you're doing mechanical wise, don't tighten anything up until you get all of the locating bolts back in place. The worst thing is to get 4 or 5 bolts in place nice and tight and then realise you can't get the last one in. So typically these little covers will get thrown away, but as you can see here, Al, who is one of the most experienced 12 volt experts, a fussy bastard, one of the most experienced 12 volt experts in the country, he's actually put them back on, and they do give a little bit of protection, a little bit of cover for those terminals.
A little bit.
You might think that nothing's going to hit those, but anything can come loose. I've seen batteries come up and hit bonnets.
We have.
All sorts of things happen in four-wheel drive, so the more protection you've got,
The better.
the better.
Dead right. Good work.
Another good job, thanks.
Thank
Al.
you, Simon.
Well
Top
done.
work. Okay. Done.
Thank you so much.
All good.
One more final check. Perfect. We're back on the road. After soaking up the magnificent views, our convoy hit the ground running towards our home base for the evening and the final road to El Dorado.
Yeah, Simon, looks like we're gonna need a Milwaukee and one tree. There's one tree here.
There's no one flying it. It's down, down, down.
Yeah, it looks pretty fresh.
Gums are famous for falling and branches falling. I mean, that's why they call them the widowmaker here in Australia. It's one thing about being in the bush, you've got to have your wits about you, because at any time any one of these branches or trees can fall on you. Many campers have been killed over the years from trees falling through the night. So the idea is just to keep an eye out, keep the wits about you and listen to what's happening around you.
So it's becoming a bit of theme for the high country is logs across the track. We cleared it with a bit of winch action, a bit of chainsaw action, and a lot of pushing from the team.
One more at least. Ready, guys? And over, 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 over. Done.
St. Patrick's Day yesterday. I woke up this morning feeling a little bit green. Had a bit of a look around Mount Beauty, and then we headed up to Eskdale Track, up on the top of the ranges, looking down over Mount Beauty, and all of a sudden we've come across a huge tree. The thing would have been, I reckon, 10 ton.
This is a serious log, Al.
I went up top to see, and it's probably about 1.5 meters in diameter at the base and be quite a few tons of weight there. So the boys are cutting it and it's going to take a little bit of time.
A petrol chainsaw will have the horsepower you need to cut through something like this. But we wanted to have a crack and see how well the electric Milwaukee would do, and I'm pretty impressed. That's done a great job. It's cut all the way through that. We're now going to winch this out of the way, keep the convoy rolling.
Two Ivecos were pulled down the track, chained together, trying to drag this thing off the track. That's how big it is. It's frigging enormous. I don't know how much it weighs, but I'd say well over 10 tonnes. To my absolute amazement, Simon's little electric chainsaw cut through that thing down the bottom. When we had to do more cuts, the petrol one was very useful. But this is, without a doubt, probably one of the biggest logs I've ever moved in my entire life. It is frigging awesome. Great team effort, nobody got hurt. It went to precision almost. It fell within that far of the Iveco. That was really good planning, it was terrific. Missed everything. We're now going to shove it off the side of the track and leave the track open for other people. That's really important. If someone had to get out of here in a hurry, this is the main road out. This is the Eskdale track. Even for the rangers, this would be a job. So everyone who helped, thank you so much for a fantastic job. And Simon, woohoo, we did it.
We've been driving this dusty road past farmland, and there was this really gnarly looking track just up here on the right. It goes straight up there, up to the top of the hill, and Simon's actually had to put front and rear diff locks in the Iveco. And that tells me that's going to be a bit of fun. Now we're waiting for Simon to report back to see whether it's actually doable or not.
Was it good? That is double diff locks, rocks, logs, trees, all the way up. It is nasty. Now, seriously, not many of the cars are going to make it. I got stuck at one point on the steepest section.
Yeah.
Rock steps.
Yes.
Rear diff hung up.
Oh no.
4 tyres spinning.
Oh no. Oh wow.
Trying to find traction.
Yeah, right.
And it took 4 cracks. I had to have a go at it.
Get a bit of momentum going.
No, I had to get the front wheels out of the ruts and up on the bank.
Oh, geez.
To pull the diff across, the rear diff across to get round the rock in the middle. So that's 37s and I was hung up, Al.
I don't think we'll get up then.
I reckon if you ride the bank on that steep section,
You might.
halfway up,
Might.
crawl up over the bank, you'll get up and over.
Yeah.
And the bad thing,
Yeah.
you've got the sun in your eyes the whole way.
Oh, no.
It's an amazing track.
We've got to have a crack. Yes.
Let's have a crack.
So it does a loop, does it? All the way back onto the road again?
Yes.
Sounds awesome. Thank you.
It's like an all-terrain challenge. Weaving between rocks, logs, fallen trees.
Oh, awesome.
I certainly didn't expect how steep the track was. I said to Simon, stay calm, let's just do this slowly. I saw these big rocks in front of us and I'm like, how are we gonna get through this? We probably stopped 3 or 4 times and Simon got us out of there. I'm like, yes. After we've done that rocky section, we finally found a way back. I decided not to go back on that again.
The crew thought it'd be best to amble along some easy trails. Nothing stays calm for long, however, and radio silence was broken by Luch with a sudden, dire issue.
Doesn't sound good at all. Give me 2 secs, I'll throw it around, I'll come back and have a look. Do you want to come up for a ride, Al?
As I was just driving down the hill, I could hear a noise, but I wasn't sure what it was. I stopped, had a look, I couldn't see nothing, no oil, no anything like that. Then I've just gone to drive forward again, it was just a big clunk, and the car just locked up. So I've just put it in reverse and gone back up. Took it out of 4-wheel drive, maybe I did front diff or an axle or something. Go to put it forward again, couldn't move.
Go back to neutral.
Hope we can find a solution to get us down the hill.
We're in deep trouble. We have a broken drive system. Simon, where are you?
What do you reckon, Al?
I'll show you what's going on. I'll just let it go forward a fraction. Simon, I'm in neutral. I'm in 2-wheel drive.
The intermediate axle will snap and won't cause any problems. We'll just have freewheeling. It's a CV or it's the diff. Normally a CV will snap and break off. The piece will break off. That hasn't broken off. Back it up and over the bridge. Let's get these vehicles off the hill as well.
Yep.
Get them parked up safely. That's returning freely backwards with no issues. And then forwards, is it some teeth? One direction on the diff.
It's completely loose, look. It's escaped.
Holy hell. And that's why the brakes are clamping on and
Correct.
shuttering in one direction and not the other direction.
This is good news.
Tools, please. Let's get
Tools, we can fix this. Oh, geez, have a look at this, guys. That's where the caliper's been escaped.
Probably what it was jamming on even.
Yeah, look at it. Can you see that now? And you can see where the caliper's jammed into the thing. It's all damaged on the back here. Luckily, all the hoses are okay. That is seriously...
Have we lost the other bolt?
Yep, the other bolt's gone. That lost bolt, it holds the caliper on.
Yep.
If that fell out at 120 kilometres an hour, fell into the rim, you can either shatter the rim to a million pieces or lock it up completely solid. 120 k's to a corner, you'll be on your roof, you'll be dead, mate, I'm sorry to say.
The way that this was articulating, because the brakes are pushing up, that's why this is coming out and engaging the rim. We've swapped the bolts around so that it will hold it in the right articulating manner to go with the car moving forward. We've found something that we can put in there as a peg. We've cable tied it in to get us out and back to the bitumen. It will do just fine, but it's definitely not a safe fix for touring home on the highway or the freeway at full speed.
Taking will go into a dog.
Yeah, that's a good spot. Yeah.
So what do I have to buy?
A bolt.
Caliper one. All right, I'm taking
Caliper
you in.
locating
Okay.
bolt.
What an incredible journey it has been, and I hope you've enjoyed it as much as we have. I also hope we've inspired you to come up here and explore the northwest corner of the Victorian High Country. Like the rest of Australia, it certainly has plenty to offer.